Our next two guests are not professional public speakers. Our next two guests do something far more important, working for one of the 7 wonderful charities that the Chapel Foundation supports. So it's my pleasure to call to the stage, in absolute silence, so you can soak up the wisdom they have to share before we lean on you one last time in our final fundraising drive of the evening. Hear from a wonderful organisation. You can see the 7 charities up there that the Chapel Foundation supports. The good people at Ways. We're about to meet an inspirational young Australian. She's going to be introduced to us from Ways by Dr. Terry Said. So please welcome Terry to the stage.
Thank you, thank you. Hi everybody and welcome here this evening. Thank you so much for giving us the attention, which we are going to hopefully hold it for a minute or two. I'd like to welcome Jenny. Jenny is one of our students and from Ways. And Ways is an organisation that's been around for the last 43 years. We have a number of arms to our service, one of which is a secondary school, of which I'm also the principal. It's an alternate school for years 9 to 12. We also have the Wellness Centre, which is actually funded by the Chapel Foundation, partly, and part of the Wellness Centre is a homelessness service. There are many other services of Ways, such as an USH and an aftercare as well. But I'd like to talk to you very briefly about the Wellness Centre. Jenny came to Ways during COVID, of all times, and was at a bit of a loss. And fortunately for Jenny, she managed to come to us at a time where we were only too happy to help her. So before Jenny shares her story with you this evening, I would like to, on behalf of my board, and on behalf of all the clients and students of Ways, extend a heartfelt thanks to the Chapel Foundation. The Chapel Foundation have been unbelievable in supporting Ways and supporting Ways in our mission to not only end homelessness, but to educate and inspire and to support many young people like Jenny to have a future and an amazing future that they can be proud of. So thank you so much to the Chapel Foundation and their generous support to Ways. I'd like to thank you all for supporting the evening, and without further ado, I'd like to introduce you to Jenny.
I am here on behalf of all the young people who don't have a voice. I'm here to tell you that I wouldn't be here at all if it wasn't for the interventions of Ways Youth and Family, an organisation who not only believed in me, but who supported me on this very long, lonely journey. I come from what one might call a broken and dysfunctional family. My father left my mother and my 2 older sisters when I was born. I have never known him. My mother would mentally and physically abuse me and my sisters so severely, leaving us in unbearable pain. My home was never safe. For many years, I had nowhere to turn. My middle sister Joanne ran away when she was only 13. Shortly after my sister ran away, I found my mother's suicide note. In it, she listed all the reasons why she didn't want to be alive, and I was one of them. I was so heartbroken I couldn't tell a soul. My mother was physically abusive for as long as I can remember. She really terrorized me. On one occasion, she fixed my hand to a chopping board, about to cleave my fingers off. When I begged and pleaded with her, she finally let me go. Docs removed my older sister, from her care. Fearing that Docs would also take me and my other sister away, she moved us to Malta for 4 years to escape. These years were unbearable. I was trapped in a strange country with no way of getting help. We returned to Australia. The abuse was constant, but I had nowhere to go, couch surfing from place to place from the ages of 11 to 14. Then I met my boyfriend. Finally, a safe harbour, or so I thought. I ended up moving in with him and his family. Upon moving in with him, I stopped going to school and interacting with the people around me. My mental health declined severely. I was alone, more than ever. No school, no home, and no family. Only him, crime, drugs, and extreme sadness. I lived with him for 3 years. I had no choice, as I was homeless once again. The relationship was a codependent one. I was isolated. One day we had a fight and I got kicked out of his place. My life spiraled. I even got arrested at one point. The mainstream schooling system was too intense for me and my problems. I remember crying to my DCJ caseworker, expressing how much I need an education and how I wanted to make my family proud. He told me about Ways Youth and Family and about their school, Ways Secondary. I enrolled in Ways Secondary during COVID. It's been a long journey. However, my journey at this school has not always been smooth. There have been plenty of tears, lots of self-doubt, lots of absences and periods of homelessness and couch surfing. I felt completely isolated from everyone, but then at Ways, Luke, Zoe, and Terry became my family. Ways became my family, my stability, and my hope. I remember the first time I met Zoe. I was on the bus, crying, feeling so lost and hopeless. She was so kind. She took my hand and told me she would help me find a home and stability. From that day, Zoe was one of the most significant people in my life, along with Luke, wonderful Luke, caring. He has been my psychologist since I started at Ways. He played the most crucial role on my journey to self-love and positive self-esteem, making me feel safe enough to share my problems with him, my flaws, fears, hopes, and dreams. He helped me stay at school. Both he and Zoe helped me get into a house, my own safe home. They advocated for me, wrote countless letters on my behalf, and went to endless interviews with me. I have now, thanks to them, signed a 2-year lease to my very own home. I finally got the stability I yearned for all these years. I'm now in year 11. I come to school every day. I have fallen in love with the academic validation I receive, and now I'm going to be the first person in my family to receive a HSC. I now have a future to look forward to. I want to thank Terry for allowing me to have structure, discipline, and safety within her school. Terry never gave up on me. I remember a day when I was about to give it all up. Terry spoke to me and told me something so special, something that has never left me. She said, imagine you are in a boxing ring. Your opponent is life, kicking you, pushing you down, making you feel alone and hopeless. Then imagine me coming into the ring. I'll be the person to pick you up, brush you off, and push you to keep going because I believe in you and you are worth it. In Japan, broken objects are often repaired with gold. The floor is seen as a unique piece of the object's history, which adds to its beauty. This concept represents my journey. I've talked about my past, my pain, things that have made me proud, and things that have shaped me to be the person I am today. I know some of you may or may not relate, but collectively we can all agree, like the repaired bowl, we all have cracks that define us. And like the blooming lotus, which only grows in mud, sometimes we have to get dirty to get clean. So many young people need a Ways. I hope you all tonight can help others like me find their way home. Thank you.
That was Jennifer, who, before we came up here, told me she was really nervous and didn't think she'd be able to do that. Jennifer, thank you so very, very much for sharing your story tonight. And thank you, Dr. Terry. Please give them another big round of applause from the Ways organisation. And I know right now, as you're sitting there, you're thinking, oh, what an incredible organisation. What can I possibly do to help them? Over to you, Jimmy Smith. Let's get up here and do the pledge section of the evening now. A really important part. We were so generous, several people in the auction, exceeding what we were hoping, but this is the other really important fundraising section of the night. Over to you, Jim. All yours.
Thank you, Adam. Thank you, Jennifer. Thank you, Dr. Terry. Just extraordinary. As a father of 3 young children, if you can teach them anything, it's resilience. Then the extraordinary resilience that people like Jennifer shows is just amazing. The thing that stands out for me was one night our 3 children were sitting at our breakfast bar and they were complaining about who had the most scoops of ice cream with their chocolate sprinkles and their nuts. And you think, come on kids, let's get some perspective. And Jennifer, you've given us all that tonight, so thank you. Right, you gave so much previously for great items. Now you're just going to give for the organisations that help people like Jennifer. We ask you to whichever method you prefer. So we've got 3 options. QR code, you can find it on your booklets, on your tables. Scan that with your phone. We've got via FPOS, so we do accept credit card, debit cards, or of course there are pledge forms on your table. So what we're looking for is a donation, a pledge, a support, an acknowledgement that what you're doing with your money tonight is making a difference in the lives of young people all around Australia. So I'm going to start with a pledge amount. We're going to work our way down. This is fraught with danger. However, I feel confident we'll get some great monies, some great donations tonight. Who's going to start me off with a $25,000 pledge? A $25,000 pledge. I can only imagine what $25,000 can do for the organisations that are represented by the people up the back. Have we got a 25? Thank you, sir. 22. You missed out on the food. You might as well just give the money. 25. That's extraordinarily generous. Thank you, sir. Table 22. Do we have the gentleman's name? No. Organisation? No. Leo? Leo Brown. Thank you, Leo. Mr. Brown. All right. Any other Mr. Whites out there? Mr. Pink? We got anyone? $25,000. Maybe I started too low. $25,000. Do we have another $25,000 in the room? $25,000. First among equals, Mr. Brown. Well done. So let's go to $20,000. Do we have a pledge for $20,000? $20,000 to show your support of the Chapel Foundation, that shows their support of frontline charities that help homeless youths in Australia. $20,000? Do we have a $20,000 in the room? It's very quiet here on the right-hand side. I don't know what's going on. Anyway, 20,000, do we have that? What are we doing, Darshak? 20? Bozzy, you keep waving like that. I think you're going to do it. It is hot. It is hot. 20,000. All right, let's go to... 20,000? Thank you, sir. Very generous table. 22. We have a name, sir? Brian? Brian, thank you, Brian. Not Brian Brown, by any chance, is it? No. Right. Just saw it on the same table. All right. 20,000. Let's go to 15,000. Have we got 15,000? We'll have a couple of those. Thank you, sir. Do we got that on 22? Again? Was that 22? Thank you, sir. Table 22. Thank God table 22 came, Darshak. Sir, name? Steve. Thank you, Steve. On table 22. Extraordinary. 15,000. If you're sitting on table 22, I'm not looking at you, sir, but mostly you, sir, there, next to Brian. If you're on table 22 and you haven't given us 20K or something like that, it's a bit awkward, isn't it? How'd you enjoy the night? Yeah, it's great till everyone showed me up. But anyway, who's got 10,000? Have we got 10,000 in the room? Have we got 10,000? Have we got? Yes, we have, sir. Table number 24. Name, sir? Gillian. Ilias, thank you. $10,000. Have we got another 10? We got another 10? Yeah, we have. Table 37. Table 37. Name? Oh, is that Paul Hines? That's Paul Hines from GSA. Thank you, Hinesy. I know you're sitting on a wad of cash over there. I was wondering when you were going to put your hand up. So, from GSA Insurance Brokers, well done. $10,000, very generous, Hinesy, as always. 10,000, we got another one, 10,000. 10,000. You put everyone on. Yeah, 22! This is so awkward, sir. Now, we've got someone else on the table with 10,000. Thank you, sir. Name? Peter. Great job, Peter. 10,000. 10,000. What have we got? 10,000 on 36. Name? Name? No name. Backtrack. For backtrack. Or from backtrack. That's for Shaky. Thank you. Well done. Well done. $10,000. Do we got any more? Do we got any more? No? All right. Have we got... Oh, 5? What about 5? Seriously. Like... 5? Oh, yes. Ah, yes. Real pet foods. Oh, 7.5. Sorry. Increments of 2.5. Didn't realise that. Who's 7.5? Name? Dean? Thank you, Dean. 7.5. We're only getting you to say your name so we can identify you on the CCTV vision too a little bit later, just to make sure of that. Table 12, Real Pet Food Company, 5,000. Thank you very much. $5,000. Have we got another 5? 5, yes. Table 9. Thank you, sir. Name? Craig. Good on you, Craig. 5,000 over there on table 9. Anyone else? Anyone else? Surely Venues New South Wales is paying all right, Dave. $5,000. The boss, who's it going? Toddy, ACA flying at the moment. CBA, done that. Deal's done. Away. No, 5,000. 5. Anyone? Seriously, I'm going. $25. $25. West end of the room. All right, we'll go 2.5. Will we go 2.5, Darshak? 2.5. Last chance to get involved. Put your name up in lights. $2,500 pledge. Final chance. $2,500. Third and final call. I reckon that is us done. Thank you very much again for your generosity. Enjoy the remainder of your night. If you do want to make a pledge of any donation, any amount, please do so via the QR code, the pledge form, or indeed by the EFTPOS terminal.
Jimmy,
Thank you.
just for 2 seconds, just two things. Everyone's asking me about table 22 and who are table 22. I've just got the inside oil on table 22. Would you stand up for a second? Table 22 are a group of friends assembled by this gentleman here, whose name is?
Brian Davies.
And Brian, what's your connection with Chapel Foundation, etc., such that you've brought an entire table of people who've been remarkably generous on several occasions this evening?
I run my own charity called I'm the patron of the National Fire Industry Association of Australia. I run my own charity that raises money for mental health, dementia, Parkinson's. There's 20 different medical research programs, including looking after our veterans. And we've raised about $950,000 so far over the last 3 years. There's all the people at these tables walk on our Patrons Walk for Charity. And how I connected here is my mum bought my wife and I a ticket to the Chapel Foundation lunch in Brisbane a few years ago, and it was, going there has nothing to do with it, just someone who bought a ticket, an average punter, and I was lucky enough to have Greg sit next to me at the table, and we connected about the Chapel Foundation, and Greg's. From then we stayed in contact, and Greg has helped me with my charity, and he introduced me to Trevor and Ian, and both of them have helped us with ours. So I'm certainly incredibly vested in what we do, but giving is giving, and it doesn't matter what you give and what you give to, everything is worthwhile, and what the Chapel Foundation does for homelessness is profound. And I can't help but want to be a part of it. And the people here, as I say, they're walkers. My lifetime mentor is Leo Brown is here tonight. It's all about just supporting Greg and the Chapel Foundation and the great work that they do. So
you've paid it back in spades tonight, mate. You really have. Please give Table 22 a massive round of applause. And reminding you all that everyone else in the room, we will accept pledges for a lot less than $2,500. So please grab those forms now, go to the QR code, fill out the piece of paper on your table or the QR code, pledge, and we'll be back with no less than the Chapel Brothers very soon.